Hi everybody, it's Erin from ePapery.
And Michael from ePapery.
Welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody has had a great holiday season. As we are shooting this today, we have had our Christmas holiday, but not yet New Year's. But this will be airing on January 2nd. So, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, everybody.
Yes.
So as we move into January, we are participating in a collaboration called January Junk Journal Jam 2024. And this is going to be a 4-week collaboration with a few different channels here. Denise Cothern, us, ePapery, Above All Journal, Bets and Pieces Studio, MillennialScribbles, and The Crafty Cottage. If I forgot anybody, please forgive me, and please tell me in the comments if I've forgotten you when you are a participant, but I think I got everybody here. So with these channels, we've got 4 weeks of videos coming your way. Somebody's going to be posting every day of the week. Our day of the week to post is on Tuesdays. Week 1, we're talking about our favorite tools, so that's today's video. Next week, we'll be doing paper. So embellishing our paper or decorating papers, choosing papers. It's going to be along those lines. Week 3 is going to be all about embellishments. And week 4 is artist trading cards. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot of new channels here for you to check out, or channels that are growing along with us here. So please make sure that you go and check out all of these other channels in the collaboration and give them some love from our ePapery community. If you're searching on social media for the hashtags, that's going to be hashtag January Junk Journal Jam 2024, hashtag JJJJ 2024, hashtag Junk Journal, and hashtag Paper Crafts. Okay? All right. So we're talking favorite tools today. And so the way that I interpreted this was like, if you're a beginner and, you know, you've got maybe some of the very basics covered, but you're looking to make an investment, where would you spend your money? Like, what are your favorite things that you use, that those of us that are a little bit more experienced, and we've amassed this stash of tools and supplies and stuff, and it's too much, right? But what are the things that we go to day in, day out when we're crafting that just we absolutely love, and we keep going back to them, and it's worth the money, in my opinion. So Mom's here today with me, and I asked her to bring a couple of her favorite items. So what do you have with you today?
Well, I just brought a couple of things because I figured you probably had most everything that I have.
But a couple of items I don't have, and I'm a little jealous here because there's been one that I've been shopping for, and this is one of them. So this is the, miniature size guillotine paper cutter. So if you're not familiar with what that does, it's this type of cutting action versus a sliding action. And what's nice for this,
well, one of the things I like is it's very easy to tell where it's going to cut.
Where the cutting blade is. Yeah,
where the cutting blade is. The other thing I like is the portability of it. It's very easy. I do crafting in my craft room, but I also do a lot of crafting sitting in my recliner out by the TV.
Yeah.
And so it's really easy for me to have that out there. I don't have to worry about having to drag my big one out all the time.
So this is like 7 inches wide this way, and it's about 11 inches tall that way. So this could slip into a good, a larger size tote bag or...
Well, I brought it in mine today.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a really handy tool.
And I find, unless I'm trying to cut down a letter size piece of paper, and even then, I probably use this more than I use my other cutter.
Then, when we're talking about another cutter, we're talking about this style with like a sliding blade on it, which, this one, you need something like this if you're going to cut down a 12 by 12. You don't necessarily have to have a slider, but you've got to have something with a bigger surface
Right.
than something
that
like
will
this.
even cut, an 8.5 by 11 if you put it
In the long way instead
Yeah.
of, okay. And then this will, if I remember correctly, this should also be able to kind of hack through a couple of sheets at once.
Yes.
So if you're kind of doing like a mass make or something like that, this might be the way to go. If you're doing a bunch of different, bunch of the same size tag bases
Right.
or
Exactly.
or something like that. Okay. So what else do you have?
Well, the only other thing that I brought with me was this bone folder,
So
which I am in love with.
now this is the one that I use most often. This came with my bookbinding kit. What is so special about this one?
It's a little heavier. So, it's able to crease things a little bit better. I do not use that bone folder for scoring, but I use it a lot for
Flattening the creases or sharpening your
creasing.
creases.
And this end here, which I don't, this end here,
This beveled edge over here. Yeah.
It's really nice for creasing down things.
So I'm just going to, we've got some scrappy papers here, so I'm going to give it a test run. So there I've got it. And so you just take what I like about this is it kind of gives your finger like a nice little place to rest.
Yeah.
And then,
Yep.
yeah, boy, and it's nice and smooth there. So, and how much is this? So you bought this at E's store, Scrapbooking with Me.
Scrapbooking with Me.
.com.
Right. And I think it was like $19 or $20.
So it's not like it's not super cheap. Like you
huge, but
can
it's
get
not-
something like this for you can get something like this less expensively than this.
Right.
But if you're the type of person who would rather just buy the premium tool to begin with instead of stepping
Right.
up,
Yeah, I didn't have that one. I've only had that for about probably a year, maybe. And I still have my other ones that I use, like I said, for scoring and whatnot, because that one is a little bit heavy for that. But like if you're making a folio or something that's got heavier paper in it, then the heaviness of that one
really works for that
really
thicker
works.
cardstock or
Yep.
manila, something
Yes.
like that. You wouldn't necessarily have to have something super hefty like this if you're just folding like
Paper.
scrapbook paper or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, or book page or something. But
Yeah.
like this for your heavier uses is really nice. Now I'll be honest with you, I don't use a bone folder for scoring hardly ever. I prefer a ball-ended stylus.
Right.
For scoring. So if you're looking for a scoring tool versus a creasing tool, my suggestion is that perhaps you want to invest in some ball edge styluses. They can come in multiple packs with multiple sizes. And I use these for a lot of things. I use these for painting.
Yep.
As well as scoring. I've got one that's kind of like my scoring stylus. And then these are my painting styluses. But if these are usually found in like the fingernail, nail polish decorating
yeah.
art,
Nail art.
art sections and stuff. But now that dot mandalas are so popular, you'll find them for that too. But I think
And
these
they're
are
not that expensive.
they're really not. I mean, you can get a set of these starting, I think, around between $6 and $8. They're really not very expensive. You don't have to go with really expensive wooden handles or anything crazy like that. As a matter of fact, I prefer the resin handled ones because I know that these I can soak, I can wash off, I can do
Exactly.
whatever, and I'm not going to wreck this in the studio. So if you're looking for a scoring tool, then maybe you want to consider a ball-ended stylus. But if you're looking for something that's for scoring and creasing and whatever, then a bone folder definitely is good. And if you really want the premium bone folder, which this is not made of bone, this is
I think
something else. But go out to scrapbookingwithme.com, and they sell this one.
And she's got a new one out too that's just like a small square type thing that she uses too, which I think looks like it would be very workable.
Really nice too. Yeah, I mean, I tend to trust Edith when she recommends a tool, that it's going to feel really good in my hands, that it's going to work really well. They don't put junk in their store, so yeah, worth the cost.
The other thing with the ball stylus type thing is I sometimes use that if I'm making something that's three-dimensional, like for example the flowers, paper flowers or something. That will help shape those.
So I have a larger one that I like to, if you're sculpting flowers into more of a cup shape or something like that. Yeah, that works really well too. So ball styluses, bone folders, and guillotine cutters are the first three tools that we would recommend investing in if you're ready to take that next step. So I have my list, and something that I go back to time and time again, and I use them for so many different things.
Yeah.
And it's the most basic tool, but it's my circle punches. And more often than not, it's this 1 inch, or it's this, I don't know if this is 1.5 inches, or I don't think it's quite 2 inches, but 1 inch and a 1.5 inch, I think, is what these are. And then I've got these two. These all came in a set. You can buy them separately, but oftentimes it's only like another couple of dollars just to get the set of 4. If you're looking at just basic shapes. So I use these for making divots in my pockets.
Thumb pulls,
thumb pulls and stuff. But I also tend to use a lot of, like when I'm decorating things, I cut little circles out of, the pretty paper, and that oftentimes becomes part of the decoration on my tags and stuff like that.
Or a background on a tag that,
Exactly. Now, something else that I know you can do is you can fake a whale tail page tab with a circle punch. So see if I can remember how to do this here, but it's basically you cut your, I've already got that folded, and then
I think you just take part of the punch and
do you do it like this? You kind of do it.
I'd have to look at it. I can't remember.
Or you cut it.
I think
it's kind of like this, where you just you kind of chomp the corners off like this.
It's not really whale tail, but it is a punch.
Well, it would have been if I would have cut a circle out of the paper first, I think, because then it would have had the rounded.
Oh, that I don't know.
I think that's what you do. Hold on. Let's try this again.
I don't know. I've seen videos on it, but I can't remember.
Let's try this again. Here, I've got a piece of book page. So if I take my larger circle punch,
is that going to cut through that?
And just cut through that book page like that, and then I fold this in half.
Then take your
take my littler circle punch and just nip the little corners off.
There you go.
Like that. Now you can, if you've got a corner rounder, which is another tool that I think is worth the money, you can just take that little corner off, and that's what's going to actually put that final little whale tail in there for you. Let me open that up again. See, there's that whale tail shape. There, that is the signature of a whale tail page tab. So that's how you can fake that without spending, because those cost $85 right now. There's one on the actual whale tail, which we have one.
We got it.
So we got this one. We found it for $3.50, which was amazing. But this is what we're faking, is this page tab right here. These, if you go out to eBay or Amazon or not Amazon, Facebook Marketplace, but eBay, somewhere where they sell the used ones, because this is a retired Stampin' Up! Punch. They're anywhere between $65 and $100, just depending. So we managed to find this for $3.50. So keep your eyes open at your thrift stores. Pick one up if you find it for $3.50, but maybe don't spend $85 on this if you're just getting started out. This wouldn't have been worth it to us if it was $85.
No, I think that they do. Another company has come out with an actual punch like that, and I don't know.
I forget who it is who has it, and maybe if I can find it, I'll link it down below. They've got one that you've got to fold the paper over first, and then it does like the half shape of it. And then there's other types of tab punches that you can buy. So if you're looking for a tab punch, I mean, by all means, go ahead and invest in that. But there's other ways to make page tabs without having to have a specific tab punch. And I find that my circle punches are so much more useful, because I can do things like, you know, decorating and functional, like the larger circles. These can be used as tuck spots, you know, things like that. So I get way more mileage out of basic shapes, squares, hexagons, circles, you know, ovals is another good one. I have a large oval punch that I use a lot. So invest in basic shape punches first.
Can I try something?
Yeah.
Have you got a piece of paper?
That's a question. Do I have a piece of paper?
How stupid is that? I wanted to try, as I don't have those sizes, the smaller sizes. But I ain't gonna work.
Punch the small. Are you trying to make like a hole reinforcer shape?
Yeah. Have you made them?
Not with these. And I think what you would want, if you wanted to fake that, let's see if that works first. But
well, I think I have it too close to the edge.
Okay, because what I would do, because here's the other hole punches that I've invested in.
There, it works.
Yeah, it works. Where's my other? I do have a regular hole punch. So this was a hand-me-down, but if you don't have one of these,
you can get a regular punch.
You can get a regular just paper punch. And I'm not sure where mine is, because I did buy one at the dollar store or Office Max, or just, you know, somewhere where it was inexpensive at one point. Now, of course, I can't find it, because that's the theme of all of Erin's videos. There's always something she cannot locate in the studio when she wants it. So anyway, but this is a handy little tool too. It punches holes. It's called a crocodile. It's made by We Are Memory Keepers. It punches holes in a couple of different sizes, and it also sets eyelets. So if you like the idea of doing eyelets and whatever, it's great for that. But if I were wanting to make a hole reinforcer, I would have taken my regular hole punch, wherever that is.
Oh.
And
what's that right in front of you?
This is my small one.
Oh.
This is see, over time you start getting all the extras, right? So this one is a 1/8 inch hole.
Really
so
tiny.
It's tiny. Yeah, it's really small. So I would take this one and punch it first. And then I would take this and, okay, that's too big. And this I can't fit. So you got to play around with some things, but there's a way to do it, you know.
Here's the one I did. And yeah.
Let me see if I can. But it's easier if you do the smaller hole. Jeez. Okay, next time don't punch the hole so far into the page, Erin.
But you got to punch it far enough so you can.
Yeah. So, I mean, I happen to have two circle punches that are, there needs to be one right between here. But yeah, that's a good one.
Turned out
Yeah, that one turned out really good. Because this one, that hole almost looks like too tiny.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like the one that you made better. But yeah, you can... So here's the one that Mom made. And mine, it's going to take more experimentation for me to get this right. But let's see if I can get it. So I made that one with a smaller hole in it. Either one of which will work. Or you can just cut out this size, paste that where you want the hole on your tag, and then punch the hole, and it's going to be better. And then you've got the tag to help position it where you want. That probably would work the best out of any of the techniques we just did.
Yeah.
I'll keep this up here just in case we need that for other things. But so yeah, hole punches or circle punches, square punches, hexagon punches, oval punches, and a corner rounder.
The corner rounder, yeah.
Next on my list is my scoreboard. So this is another one that I inherited from you.
Yep.
I do have...
Look how dirty it is.
I know, it's filthy. I do have... We got another one that was the all-in-one paper cutter scoreboard, whatever. And yet I go back to this one. I would like to get more of a travel size one.
Mm-hmm.
For, you know, those times when I'm...
The only one I have now is with the cutter.
Yeah, because you gave me this one.
Yep.
So I absolutely love this because I'm not always the best folder.
Mm-hmm.
And this just makes life so much easier for making really nice, crisp folds, straight lines, because I've used this also for marking. When I don't want to use like a marker or a pencil, I'll score.
Yep.
And that does a really nice job too. This one has a little spot where I can put my scoring tool if I wanted to. I don't because I have it over here. But you know, it's really nice. I did myself a favor and put a little 6-inch, you know, Sharpie through the 6-inch center there. But yeah, it's filthy. It needs a good cleaning, but I use it all the time.
Now, if you don't want to spend a lot of money, and I don't remember, this is old. Yeah.
Buy them used though. You know, look for them in your thrift stores. If you've got a thrift store that carries a lot of crafting stuff, look for them on Facebook Marketplace, look for it on eBay, look for it at garage sales, whatever. But it's worth, you know, if there were going to be something if I was going to pay full price for something, this would be on the list of something that I think is worth making the investment.
Otherwise, sometimes I just take a ruler in my score tool and line it up with your lines on your mat.
If you've got one of these mats.
If you've got a mat.
Otherwise, what I would do is make a mark at both ends. Use a longer ruler if you need, to make sure that you're lined up between the ends, and then you can score that way along your ruler. And that works really nicely too. And if you'd like to see a demonstration of that, go check out our video of when I make the journal using the 12-pack packaging.
Right. And
I demonstrate that method of scoring as well, because that one I was using the very minimum of tools. But I tell you what, scoreboard makes it a whole lot easier and makes a big difference. So worth saving up some money to get that.
I got that one and got mine when I was really into card making.
Because you were making a lot of cards for a long time, and that was just something that was... So again, that one's really big. It's kind of a little bit clunky, and I'd like to get myself maybe like a one that's like 6 inches wide, you know? So I've got something that's a little bit more portable. But my next item, and this is not a small investment, this is a bigger investment, but my sewing machine.
Yeah.
Now, nobody is requiring anybody to do any sewing on your projects. But if you are a person who likes that look, definitely.
And I have seen sewing machines at like Goodwill or St. Vinny's or whatever for a very inexpensive amount.
Garage sales
And
too.
garage
You
sales.
see a lot of them at garage
And
sales.
you don't need a machine that's going to do anything but zigzag or straight stitch.
That's right. You don't need any of the fancy stitching. You don't, I mean, something from the 70s or whatever is going to work perfectly fine. These machines are built to last for many, many years. Yep. Mine, now this is newer. You got me this mid 2000s, 2010. Was Evie even born yet? I don't know.
No, I think it was.
I mean, it's this century though.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's this century. But this is a Brother SC9500. I don't know if they make this exact model anymore, but they do make one that's very similar to this.
I bought one not too long ago that is a Brother that's very similar to that. And I don't know if it's the 9500 or not, but it was like less than $200.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Which
for a machine that's supposed to last you for the next 20 or more years is not, when you think of the price per use, is not that bad. And this does have several decorative stitches and stuff. You do have to get some additional presser feet to do some of the stitching. But what I like about this one is it's no muss, no fuss. There's not a whole lot of extra moving parts. It's very simple to thread. It's very simple to use. You know, like, could I go out and get like a Bernina or a Janome or something like that and have like a really fancy sewing machine? Yes. But I don't need that. Right. I'm not a quilter. I'm not a fashion designer. You know, I might make some clothing on this, and this is still going to be just fine for that. Yeah. But for what I'm doing, this is going to be just great. And I'll tell you what, sewing paper on your sewing machine creates a lot of extra lint and stuff that gets into your machine working. So you want to make sure that you're cleaning your machine out on a regular basis in order to keep it working well. So you don't want a top line machine to sew junk journals because it's going to wreck it, and it's going to,
which is why I bought one, because the one I had was a Bernina, and it was even an embroidery machine. Yeah. That I have now given to Sarah. But I didn't need that because I'm not making clothes or quilting or doing any of that at this point.
Yeah, like what you would be doing, this is going to be perfectly fine.
Yes.
Yeah, so I really enjoy using this one. It's really easy to use, but you know, look at garage sales, look in thrift stores, look at estate sales. Estate sales, I think, is going to be another great place to find a sewing machine, or put it out on your local Facebook pages, because you know, there's 10 women in your town who've probably inherited grandma's sewing machine.
Speaking of which,
and don't sew. And have no interest in it, but they don't want it just to go, you know, whatever. They want it to go to somebody who's going to use it. So, you know, just put your feelers out there. Somebody out there has got a sewing machine that they would love to give you for either free or next to nothing. So, yeah.
Yeah, when I bought that one for you, I don't even know why I bought it, because you weren't interested in sewing anything.
But it's one of those things, like, and especially if you are craftier, it's definitely one of those things that I think is worth having. No, I don't really sew a lot of like clothing and things like that, but I have sewn things for my home. And I have sewn like utility type things. And it's just something, it's one of those things that I think everybody should have. I don't know, but I'm weird that way. Like,
well, so am I, because
I can't imagine not having one.
Yeah. Well, and see,
but some people go their entire lives without having a sewing machine, and they end up doing just fine. All right, my next item: inks and paints. So, now, of course, I mean, obviously, this is where everybody's mind is going to go initially, right? Your distress inks and your oxides and all the good stuff. And yes, of course, I have some of these. You do not have to have the entire rainbow of Tim Holtz.
You don't have to have any.
You don't have to have any of these. You don't have to buy this brand. You can buy this brand, you know, whatever's cheap on in your dollar store. This is going to, well, maybe not this color, but this is going to do a fine job of inking edges of a card, as this will do. Okay. So if you're on a budget, go ahead and buy the cheaper ink, or I know some people use shoe polish, you know, whatever. But I enjoy the distress stains because I actually like using some of the techniques that Tim Holtz uses to dye the papers and things like that.
You're an artist, and you know that's.
So that's why I invested in these, and I do have a lot of colors. But I'll tell you what I use most of the time in making junk journals, I have a very limited color selection that I use all the time, and it's really like mostly these 3 colors. I will throw this color in every once in a while, but you need a brown and a black. So if you're gonna invest in 2 colors, brown and black, Distress Oxide would be good ones to invest in, whichever brown you choose. This one happens to be Walnut Stain. A lot of people like Vintage Photo. A lot of people like Brushed Corduroy. Frayed Burlap is another good one. Whatever one you like, Gathered Twigs, or you know, whatever brown you want.
So many.
There's so many to choose from. These are the 2 I go to most often. I absolutely friggin' fraggin' love Forest Moss. This is like my color. It's an olivey, like a dark olivey green, and I love it. And this does a great job of making things look grungy, you know, without being too brown.
I don't think I have that one.
It's great.
Okay, then.
So just, you know, but what else could you use? Now I also have let me pull out some stuff here. I also have a really good set of watercolors. Now again, I'm an artist. I make paintings. So my watercolors are a little bit higher quality than you would have to buy as a crafter. Okay, so these are Paul Rubens. This set costs right around the $70 mark for this set. But I also have these that I got at Target for probably like less than $15. And these work great for a bunch of stuff too. I got these on Temu. This is a 36 color set, and I want to say, I mean, depending on when you hit the sales or what they have going on, but you can buy different sets of watercolors on Temu. These happen to all be metallics for, you know, under $10. Or there's the dollar store, there's the school supply area in Target or Walmart, or office supplies, or you know, whatever.
Sometimes you can even use cheap eyeshadow.
Yes. And one of these days I'm going to take some of the old ground up eyeshadow that I have and make a project with that. So who wants to see Art Lab with ground up eyeshadows? Put it in the comments.
There you go.
I also invested in a set of watercolor pencils. And what I like about these is that I can draw where I want, but then I can use water to kind of smudgy up that line and make it, you know, fade out a little bit. And I also have regular colored pencils. I also have, you know, fine liner pens, things like that, and jelly rolls, gel pens, which, by the way, my absolute favorite white gel pen is this Uniball Signo white gel pen. This is way better than the white jelly rolls, in my opinion. So worth the money. And I don't think it's any more expensive than the jelly rolls. It's just maybe a little bit harder to find. I order mine on Amazon. Every once in a while I can find them at like Office Depot or something like that, but I don't often find these in a store.
I think I need a new one.
I have seen these lately at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. One of those, I think, carries this one. But the Uniball Signo white gel, and I think this one is the broad, but it's, you know, pretty fine point. But I think these work better than the jelly rolls for the white ink. But I have jelly rolls in other colors, and I love using gel pens to help highlight, decorate, outline different things, you know, whatever. So anything you've got, like if what you've got is ballpoint pens from your, you know, office at home, or, you know, whatever, the same one that you write your checks with, use it. Who writes checks anymore, Erin? But use it. Well, if you're not using it to write your checks, then you can definitely spare it to use in your junk journals. Let's just, you know.
Yeah.
So, but that's the point. Like, you can use
anything you have,
but you definitely do. You want inks and paints and pens.
Yeah.
I also have some craft paint.
Now, sometimes you can find inks at your Goodwill or St. Vinny's. Now, you have to be careful when you look at them. You know, if they're already open or something, they might be dried out. And depending upon what type of ink it is, you may be able to refresh them. But we found some inks at...
lots of them at St. Vinny's.
Yep.
So, I just want to... Because somebody asked me about these in comments of a previous video. Where did I get these paints? I made this set. This is the same paint as this kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
The bottled up craft paint. This color happens to be Craft Smart. I think this is the cheapest option at Michael's, right? And what I do is I buy these paint pods. You can buy empty ones, and you can buy them at Michael's. You could order them on Amazon, you know, whatever. But I buy these, and then on the bottom, I hot glue and tape, right? So I hot glue underneath the magnet and tape over top of the magnet, but put magnets on the bottom. And then I have this lid this happens to have been a tin of Christmas cookies from Costco, right? Which I use these tins for storage all the time, but I don't always need the lids. So I use the lid. I put the paint in the pot. I mix a little bit of water in with it. Because this for creamier consistency, it's not so thick. And then these all magnetize to the lid. And so I can store this upright on a shelf, right? Like that. And then I can bring out my entire palette of colors
without having
onto my work surface without having to have a big bin of bottles out that I have to paw through to find the colors that I want. And also, you know, this is already in a pot, so I don't have to have a separate palette unless I need to mix colors, you know. But most of the time I've got a pretty good selection here, so I've got pretty much, you know, what I need or want for most applications in here. So this is really handy. Now I happened to be at Target doing some last minute Christmas shopping with Evie, and we were in the craft section, and they did have a set of craft paints in the pot. There were several colors available, and I want to say the price was in the $24.99 price range. So if you would rather just buy it and get it done with,
they might even have some, and they might even have the empty ones at the dollar store.
They could. I haven't even checked at the dollar store, but they could absolutely have these empty pots there. I don't know yet. If you've seen the empty pots there, let me know, because I need some more. Because I use these for other things too. But they have a
for
set
the storage.
Yes, yeah. But they have a set at Target. I want to say it's like $24.99 or $39.99. You know, something in that range where it's like an investment, but not, you know, ridiculous. That would be, if you're starting from scratch, that's probably less expensive than buying all of these and the pots and the, you know, whatever. That's probably less expensive to start with that. And then as you run out of colors, you know, buy the bottle that you need to refill the pot. But if you're like me and you kind of we're already starting with a bunch of stuff, a bunch of bottles like this, then making the investment in the extra paint pots and some sort of metal, a cookie sheet, would also work great. A dollar store cookie sheet would be a great option if you didn't have a tin lid like this, for this. So this is, I love this. Great storage solution, which I will probably feature again when we go through and do a video on storage and organization. But I love it. And my final item is
your mother.
My mother, who I inherited so many wonderful things from, and who informs me of all of the wonderful new trends in paper crafting, because I don't pay attention. My die cutting machine, which I don't use super often because it's big and it's heavy.
And yeah, it takes effort to bring it out, but
it takes effort to bring it out, which is why when I bring it out, I do a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
All at once. But I did, and I'll feature this again and when I do a birthday Christmas haul video. But do you want to grab that box? So yeah, the little one.
Oh, it's right here.
Yeah. So I got some money for my birthday from my future in-laws, and went out to Temu and had myself a little shop, and they had these little miniature die cutting machines, and I think I paid in the neighborhood of $13.99 for this, and then another so many dollars for the plates that go into it. So if you don't have a die cutting machine and you want to get started, this might be an option. I haven't tried this yet. I don't know if it's a piece of crap or
Watch your language in.
I don't know if it's worth it or not, but that'll be something that we'll be playing with very soon. Now, keep in mind though that not all dies will be small enough
to fit in there.
To fit through here. This is narrow, so they've got to be less than 4 inches wide in order to fit through the slots on this one, whereas my Big Shot can handle all but the largest dies. There is one die cutting machine that's even bigger. Larger. I don't even know what that's called. What is it, like a Super Shot or
I don't know, but I saw one on Facebook Marketplace that somebody's selling for, what was it, $10?
Really?
Yeah, and it's the wider one.
The wider one. Oh, fun.
It's the old one where they had the bigger, the taller, what do you call it? Not the thin dies, but the bigger ones.
Oh, the bigger ones, yeah. So, it all depends on what your needs are, but I would say if you're interested in a die cutting machine like this, and I would say most of us still prefer our hand crank ones over getting a Cricut or a, whatever. People have them, but are tried and true, and what we get the most use out of is going to be the hand crank style ones. But definitely look in your thrift stores and on your Facebook Marketplace, because there are people getting out of scrapbooking and card making and whatever that are looking to destash that stuff, or they just find that they don't use as much as they thought they would. So look for one used, because the design, I mean, they change colors, and whatever and whatnot, or there was the fancy Tim Holtz branded one and whatever, but the actual mechanics and the design of the thing hasn't changed for years.
Yeah.
So you can find one that is used to get yourself started. And oftentimes it'll even they'll like sell it with the dies that they had, or, whatever. Yeah. So yeah, but in terms of embellishments and things like that, if you're not a person who loves to fussy cut, then getting a die machine might be your best bet, because you can make your own embellishments and cute little butterflies and things like that through the die machine instead of fussy cutting.
See, I love fussy cutting.
Yeah, some people like it. I cut my die cuts out of typically white mixed media paper, because then I can paint them whatever I want.
Yeah. I do the same thing with the little floral ones.
Yeah.
I've got the little floral dies. But I cut them out of regular cardstock and then I watercolor them. And they're
Yeah.
fine.
So you can do just tons of stuff with this. So this one's fun. I wanted this because I could keep this at my workspace and do little things. Like I'm very interested in getting the Tim Holtz chapter 3s and whatever. It's a bunch of little like note booky
Stamps, or are you talking about dies?
they're dies.
Oh, I haven't seen them, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm very interested in those, and that has a lot of little things and a lot of like numbers and letters.
Well, and I will be doing a video coming up where I use my die cutting machine with pop cans to make charms.
Oh, fun. And I tend to use a lot of embossed paper. Like I'll run coffee dyed paper, cardstock, or whatever, watercolored paper and whatnot with embossing folders and make textured papers.
I don't know if an embossing folder will fit through that one though.
I don't think it will.
Although I have some small border ones
that might
work through there.
But yeah, the embossing folders I'll have to get out my bigger one for, but I that's one thing that I do a mass of them at a time.
Exactly.
So yeah, that'll be something I'll be playing with very soon. I'm gonna have myself a play date with my die cutting machines and some dies and some embossing folders and have myself some fun. So but yeah, get a little one for like little page tabs and little banners and numbers and specimen card templates and coin folders and things like that. There's a lot of dies for.
Yep.
So anyway, so that's what I came up with. Did I miss anything?
No, the one thing I wish I hadn't had room for is a mat. I have a very small mat. I don't have a big mat like that, but I don't really necessarily have room for it. So,
like for cutting?
Well, not just cutting, but just overall.
Because I have.
You probably got it from me.
No. No. I do have one, and I'm not sure where it took off to, because again, the theme of all of my videos is where's Erin's stuff.
So where's Waldo? Where's my craft stuff?
Yeah, I've got one that's like a foot, like a foot by a foot, 12 by 12 inch size for cutting. And I want to say I got that at the dollar store.
Probably, yeah.
And those little dollar store cutting mats are very handy if you don't I got this big work mat and I love this and I have worked on it and I have cut on it and everything and it's great. But if I know I'm going to be cutting into things and making like a lot of mess and stuff, I'll put that extra little dollar store one out because I don't want to do so much damage to this one. So anyway, we were talking about cutting mats. She noticed my big box over there. Part of my birthday haul is a new work mat that is black, which I'm hoping is going to show a lot less grime and won't color change as much on camera. So I'm hoping that's going to be a better viewing experience for everybody. That's why I invested in that. I was thinking about getting one of the glass ones.
That you get a glare when you're videoing.
That's why I didn't do it. I didn't want there to be a glare. As functional as I think that it would be, and as nice to work on as I think it would be, I knew that with the way that my lighting and everything is set up that people would be getting a glare. So I decided not to.
I see that on a lot of videos and a lot of people will cover up the glass mat with a regular mat because of the glare.
Yeah. So I went ahead and just bought myself another one of these work mat style ones, but it is in black, but it's a not shiny.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So you're going to see a change pretty quick here from the green to the black. So no more grimy green. As much as I love green. Green's my favorite color, but grimy, gluey, coffee stained green isn't always attractive. So we'll see if the black fares any better. So that about wraps up our, tools to use. So, if you're if you're ready to make some larger investments in leveling up your basic tools, and adding some fun things to your toolbox, those would be some of our recommendations. I'm sure we'll have some more in the coming months and years. You know, what we would add, or maybe we'll change our minds.
That's always a possibility, because you're forever changing your mind.
Yeah. So just
and
as we
that's-
use different things. So
And that's just like your, you know, organizing your craft room. I mean, you can do that, I don't know, I think every 6 months or less.
I feel like I'm constantly, yeah, we'll talk more about organizing the craft room. So yeah. But anyway, guys, I again, just, you know, happy holidays from us here at ePapery. I hope you guys are safe and well and spending time with those that you love. And we will see you very soon. All right. Bye.